Mansfield today on a Tuesday, and that's where we take a look at legal matters. We thought just for a change today, we'll look at your legal matters. Okay, I mean that in the sense of the emails or some of the emails that we get in, because you're quite welcome to email us at any stage, and if something tickles Lance's fancy in a manner of speaking. He will grab hold of it and follow it up on your behalf. And so if you have any questions or comments, then there's the email address running on our ticker tape right now. legal@mansfield, the number 2, day, all one word, .com. And Lance will peruse some of those. Now, we get some very interesting stuff in, and we've got some great shows based on your emails. Some of them we'll go through here today. But we also sometimes get the biggest load of shite that you've ever seen in your life. And we have to laugh at it. We've got it. Eh?
Jeremy, yeah, I actually don't know what to say, but strike away and let's see what we can answer.
Okay. Here's one from Petersburg, from Bongani Tsetse, who says, when can I take the law into my own hands? Very interesting question.
Bongani, before you breathe, don't. Okay. Oh. Rule 1, you cannot take the law into your own hands. And it's a question people often think, and people are thinking about defense and protecting themselves and protecting others. That's fine. That's not taking the law into your own hands. In essence, law has a procedure and a protocol to follow. And let me give an example. Jeremy, when you were still in the Eastern Cape as a youngster in primary school, that pink bicycle you had without the bar in the middle, the one that you, with a purple seat. Yes. Now, it's the only one in the world, right? So think about this. All of a sudden, it disappears one day. The following week, you see somebody riding your bicycle down the street. The question is, damn, that's mine. I want to go fetch it. No, you can't.
You can't.
You can't, Jeremy. That's taking the law into your own hands. You have to follow a procedure and a protocol. If that happens, because, for example, the guy riding it might have bought it from somebody else, who actually started from you. Yeah, so you can't intervene. That person feels they have the right to it. So in the law, we have a protocol when that happens. It's called a spoliation action. It comes from the old Dutch mandement van spolie, which means that that person who you go and take your bike back from can put an action in and have the bike back in their possession. There are a couple of rules about that, but in essence, you cannot take the law into your own hands. Please.
Okay. Short answer, Bongs. Anonymous, what must I do if I cannot pay my car or home payments?
Well, I mean, this is real. Team, we're living in a world now and in our country where the economy is really battling. We have the fallout after COVID, and it continues with ongoing COVID challenges. At the end of the day, my proposal is simple. It's not a legal answer. The answer is straight away, if you have a bond with a bank, or you have a landlord that you owe money to, or you have a facility with a bank for your motor vehicle, go there straight away. Put the cards on the table. See if you can re-gear, refinance, or restructure the situation. But please, don't put your head in the sand. That's the biggest challenge we have. So this will go away. This crap doesn't go away. It just keeps coming at you. And the last thing you want then is a summons issued on you. Okay? So when you're falling behind, intervene before. Because once a summons issued, a legal process and protocol is in place. Then it's a whole different discussion that we're going to have. If you're in trouble, and it's real, and you're not the only one out there. You are not the only one. We all have the same challenges. Please go and visit the creditor to whom you owe the money and make an arrangement if you can. If you can't, another step. We'll chat about that another day.
Right. Let's go to Bryanston. Tom Bate. Are brothels legal in South Africa?
Yeah, they are. Okay, right. Tom Tripod Bate. Okay. Okay, listen, in reality, guys, prostitution and together with that, including the buying and selling of sex services, is illegal in South Africa.
Is illegal.
It's illegal in South Africa. And therefore, by default, brothels are illegal. Strangely enough, and I don't want to comment on that, but there's not much policing of it. So this practice goes on and carries on, and I don't want to judge or give my comment. So, Tom, all in all, they are illegal. I don't know why you asked the question, but life goes on. I'll leave it at that.
Well, it's one of the longest standing professions in the world, isn't it?
Indeed it is.
Yeah.
That to being a radio announcer, the other one.
Question from Charmaine. Who's the best lawyer in South Africa?
Presume you mean besides me? Or
Yeah.
me?
Oh, wait, hang on. I'm reading down the bottom of the email here now. This is Charmaine Brogden.
Oh, wow. My favorite current wife. Okay, the truth. Okay, I don't know how to answer this one. So, firstly, it makes me very scared because she's going to take me to the cleaners. Oh, shit, yeah. So, but listen, hang on a second. It is actually not a bad question at all because people often ask that sort of question, like, who's the best doctor? You know, who's the best? It depends on your situation. So if I don't answer that question, I'd ask you a question. Exactly what is your challenge? What are you looking for? People specialize and are good in certain things. So it's actually quite a clever question in that if it's a matrimonial matter, I'd introduce one person. If it's a construction matter, very common, I might say Advocate Gavin Dubell, who's one of the better guys in town. If it's depending what it is, okay? So it's very important. The question is, there isn't just one best lawyer. It depends on what you want done, what your challenge is, and also the way you want it handled. Some people like a very aggressive approach. Some people want to settle the matter with least litigation and conflict. There isn't a fixed answer. Look at the situation.
Good one. Anonymous. If I give a traffic officer a bribe, where does that leave me? That's an interesting one, Lance.
Yeah. Also, another, Jim, this is something we face, and I don't want to...
Yes, we're putting you on the spot here, Jana.
Okay, guys, if you pay a bribe, for whatever reason, you are fully participative, you are involved, you are as guilty as the person who received the bribe. That is the position. If you're asking me, should I, so as not to get out of... I'm not going to comment on that. I strongly advise against paying bribes. It's not the right thing to do, and you then you include yourself in the illegal practice.
Okay, right. Stephen, what does the rule of law mean? Firstly, yeah, I've heard of the rule of law, but I wouldn't have a clue what it means.
Yeah, well, Jim, that's a good one. So the rule of law is thrown around there all the time. In its simplest form, it means that nobody is above the law. The law applies to everybody. It's properly constituted. It's in the Constitution. And what it also does, why it is an exciting but important concept, it stops corrupt governments, theoretically, and it protects the rights of all individuals with the same comb. Very important one that we're facing at the moment in this country is protecting property rights. Okay? Property rights, not only being fixed property, but also movable property. We're going to have another debate on another day. The rule of law protects those things for everybody, not just for the elite, for certain people, for certain groups. It protects it for everybody. The rule of law is a rule that crosses right across and protects all of us equally, same rules.
One here from Bulla Boddington. He said, "Hi Lance, I was also schooled at CBC in Boksburg." Whoa, yes, today. Shame, poor oak, because that's where you went to school.
Yep.
If I'm allowed freedom of speech, why can I not say whatever I want to say? This is a fair question, Bulla.
Bulla, I remember you very well from school. The few times you pitched. Bulla, you know what? That's in your case, it's a bit of a different answer to generally because you've always said whatever the hell you want to say. So I'll leave it at that. But no, it's a good question. People misunderstand freedom of speech. Freedom of speech doesn't mean you can say anything you want. You may not use hate speech. You may not and don't. Okay, you may not say whatever you want about anybody or their mothers. In the Cape, you're different, but you may not. Freedom of speech means you have a right to your position and your opinion. It's how you execute it. It doesn't mean you can say anything you want to anybody. Please.
Okay. Yes, well, you see, this is what I'm talking about when I say we get some really crazy stuff coming through here. Tess, Lance, if you think you are so bright, answer this. Is there life after death?
Tess, you'll find out one day. Okay. Yeah, that was great tongue-in-cheek. But I'll tell you a true story, though. You know what I generally, the feeling out there is that most people believe that when they pass away, they hope they're going to go to heaven or the coolest spot. But did you know that people from Bloemfontein, they pray that if they pass away and when they're going to go to Pretoria? Just tongue-in-cheek.
Denise Campbell-Young. How does a legal matter prescribe? I don't even understand that question.
Right. So prescription means, in essence,
what do you get from a doctor?
The one for that rash on the thigh. No. So a prescription means that the person can no longer prosecute or follow up. Prescription is a defense that enough time has passed that you cannot continue with the matter. It could be a debt. Just by the way, prescription, the time varies. 3 years is pretty commonplace and real. But what often happens is that there are different types of matters that prescription can be lengthened and pushed out. In essence, a matter prescribes when a certain amount of time has gone by, there's been no legal action in between, and that it is no longer current and you can't take up on it any further. That's what prescription means in principle.
Okay, good one. And did you see the advocate in him slipping out there, hey? When he was talking about prescription normally could be 3 years, was what his hand action was. It's the same as when they're quoting you on a job that they're going to do for you. Yeah, Jeremy, it'll cost you about 3,000 Rand. Always watch the hand.
Yeah.
That's where the word sleight of hand comes. It actually comes from advocates. Okay. Time for one last quick one here, Lance. Sana Petrus Leipold from Cape Town. What is... Ooh, this could be turning dangerous water. What is the reasonable man test?
Okay, Jim.
And how is it used? I don't know if I should unleash this question on this man. The reasonable man test.
Let me handle this one seriously without being too jocular.
Yeah.
Or lavatorial. So, the reasonable man test is a test used in law, especially in the case, and primarily for a defendant, somebody defending a certain activity. Did they execute the practice in a way that a reasonable person in the same situation would have behaved? Now, it's quite a complex one because, we have different cultures, we have different beliefs, we have different approaches. So you've got to take the person in the circumstances and what society believes would have been a reasonable behavior to rebut the situation. I had when I started in law, I had a colleague who was quite an interesting guy, and he would bring this up often. He would say, reasonable man test. Okay, so is the reasonable man the average man? No, definitely not. Can a woman be a reasonable man? Well, a woman's not a man. And then can a woman be reasonable? These things get very, very complex. So I'm just taking a tease. Guys, in essence, the reasonable man applies to men and women. It applies to people in the circumstances. And it's specifically what the society in that environment would believe a reasonable behavior towards a certain action.
Thanks, Lance, and thank you for your mails to legal@mansfieldtoday.com. Keep them coming in. As I said, there are some that Lance picks up on and they develop into a serious subject that we discuss here on the Legal Show on a Tuesday. And as you've heard, there's some that are right off the wall as well. And we love those as well. So keep them coming in. And speaking of prescriptions, we'll be speaking to Dr. Vicky Skitter tomorrow on our medical slot right here on Mansfield Today. Thank you for being with us. Bye-bye.
Thank you.